the rolling fields of South Carolina lies a county steeped in history and full of promise. From the halls of the county courthouse to the shores of Lake Marion, those who call this county home know its vibrant past. This county has given rise to a Miss America, a Supreme Court case of history-changing proportions, and a renowned children's book author, among so much else.
The stories that this county holds are endless, but there are some that extend beyond the limits of linguistics to bring us together in an unparalleled way. From cheering on our teams under the Friday night lights to reading about a homegrown world champion in the history books, sports help to unite our county's citizens into the tight-knit community so indicative of the rural South.
The stories of buzzer-beating shots and game-winning touchdowns are passed down from generation to generation and memorialized in the hearts of those who were there.
These stories shape us and unite us.
This is Clarendon County, and these are its stories. On August 25, 1927, in Silver, South Carolina, one of the greatest athletes of the 20th century was born. At a young age, Althea Gibson's family decided to move to Harlem, New York. It was there that she picked up the sport of tennis. A natural-born athlete, it was not long before her talent shined through. In 1947, Gibson entered the American Tennis Association's National Championship. She won, and went on to win it 10 years in a row. There would be no stopping Althea Gibson. Tournament after tournament, she honed her skills and collected trophies. However, it was in 1950 that she earned her spot in history. She began competing in the all-white U.S. National Championship, one of 4 tournaments that made up the Grand Slam. Although she lost out in the second round, she had broken a racial divide previously untouched. She had begun her lifelong habit of paving the way for others. In 1956, Althea won the French Championship, earning her first Grand Slam title ever won by an African American. Between 1957 and 1958, she won the American and British championships, becoming the first African American player to take the court at Wimbledon. Over the course of those 3 years, she won 11 Grand Slam titles. In 1958, she retired from tournament tennis, but remained an active athlete. She picked up golf, and was soon the first African American to play professionally in the LPGA. This all-around athlete knew no limits, and she enjoyed breaking the barriers that stood in her way. Althea Gibson died in 2003, but Clarendon County will always be known as the birthplace of this athlete of historic proportions.
I was fortunate enough in high school to play for a coach that was a tremendous motivator, but he had a great knack, just had the gift of connecting with people, and it made you feel, it made you enjoy playing, and yet do the things that you need to do to win. He knew how to win, and yet he knew how to make it fun for the kids, and so in that environment, the players were basically encouraged. You know, I never remember him being in my face about things, but he had a way of correcting and motivating you and pushing you to do the things you needed to do to be the best that you could possibly be, without hollering and screaming a lot. And so in college it's different. When you made a great play in high school, he had a way of looking at you, or thumbs up at you, or smiling at you, or something, let you know you really did good. Well, in college it's sort of expected that you make good plays, you know, and so it was a little different. And of course the competition was much better. You might be the big dog at your school, but when you get there, there's nothing but big dogs there, you know, and so you get knocked around more than you did in high school. Well, I did, and Coach Hall was probably probably had, other than my father, was sort of a second father along those in those days, because I played in the system 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year. So 4 years high school and 2 years of junior high school, and a lot of my time during those 6 years was was out here, around the gym and the ballpark and so forth and so on. So yeah, he had a tremendous influence on my life, and as you look back, as you get to this point in life, and you look back and you look at those defining moments, I call them, in your life, those things that have really made a difference in the way you think and the way you do things and your character and just overall who you are. You can define those times and those things that were taught along the way by different people that really has molded and shaped the way you think today and the way you character, the way you really think today. And so he was one that had a tremendous impact on me as a mentor and coach. And I find out, and I learned that in my administration, in being a principal, the values and the things that I learned in athletics was the same thing I found that worked being a principal, and it works in life, and there's a lot of things in athletics. If you've never played athletics, you might not ever get pushed to the point that you don't think you can take another step. But if you're an athlete, you will, and it's a good experience. You give something all you got, and you can't give it anymore. So much as you can go a little further, and that's what life is. That's one of the life skills. You have to go beyond what you sometimes feel like doing to do what you need to do. And so I really think, and I think this was because of the way I was mentored by coaches, is that in the school systems, and I would say in college and in high school, the academic classrooms are extremely important. You have to have the academic skills to survive. But when you put all of it together, when you put your language classes and you put your science classes and your math classes and your social studies classes and all those together, and then you put your athletic classes over here, and you say which one teaches you the most life skills, I don't know if the athletic classes wouldn't at least equal the importance of these other classes. So that's why I've always been so sold on athletics, and it thrills me to see kids not only playing athletics, but being pushed to do what you need to do in athletics.
My name is LeBron Joy. I am the Recreation Director for Clarendon County, and I have been here since May of 1998. This job opportunity came, somebody approached me knew that I had a goal of being a director, and went through the process here, and they hired me in 1998 in May. So I just finished up my 17th year here. When I got here, it was a small program. The baseball wasn't even run by the county. It was run by a parents association. And then in 2000, their board met with their members, and they voted to turn it over to the county if the county would take it. So they approached me, and we said, sure. And at the time, all they had was baseball. We had some basketball. We didn't have girls softball. If you were a girl, you played baseball or you didn't play. So the first thing we did, we started girls softball in the spring, and then we started out with slow pitch. And it was pretty popular, and then after a couple of years, we decided we'd go fast pitch. Yeah. Let's say there was a woman involved, which is my wife. We met at Austin P, and my senior year, I proposed to her in January, and then we planned on getting married the next September, which we did. And we were living at Goose Creek at the time, when the draft came. And I just didn't want to leave her somewhere, because she was a Tennessee girl whose family was down in Florida. And I didn't want to leave her 6 hours away and me being gone for 5 to 6 months, riding buses from little town to little town, playing minor league ball. And that's just a sacrifice I made. Do I regret it? No, because I'm still involved. I'm actually under contract with the Braves for 17 years now, going on 18 as a scout. I'm considered an amateur scout, which I scout high school kids and college kids. So, I'm still in the game. I mean, the next best thing to not being a player is being a scout.
For 42 years, Coach Ernest Spann was at the heart of Clarendon District 1 athletics. After playing college football at South Carolina State University, he began his long and illustrious career in baseball, basketball, and football coaching. Today, his name sits atop the scoreboard of Scotts Branch's football field, where the Friday night lights illuminate Spann Stadium during the fall. Since his passing in 2007, a scholarship has been established in his memory to further his lifelong mission of bettering the lives of youth. We spoke with his widow, Mrs. Queen W. Spann, about this great coach and the legacy he left behind.
I'm Queen W. Spann. I am the widow of Ernest Spann, who worked at Scotts Branch High School in Somerton, South Carolina. Seen him in action. He was strong in his convictions about everything, but mostly especially sports. And just to see him coaching, and a few times he would get upset. I was always proud of his accomplishments. There were many. I mean, he received many awards. He was also named Coach of the Year a few times. Probably too many years for me to mention because I can't mention years. But those are some of the things that made me very proud of him. I want him to be remembered, of course, for the respect that he had for others and the respect that the kids gave him and how much he helped them down to the point of paying for the application fee for college. He would do that. He was just that interested in them. That generous. He was a fun-loving person as well. Mm-hmm.
Gunter Sweat grew up playing basketball at Paxville Elementary School. By the time he entered high school at Manning Training School, he had found his niche as a shooting guard and forward. As a senior, he was named team captain. A gifted basketball player and leader, Sweat knew he wanted to be a coach. Over the course of his long career, Sweat became the first coach of Manning High School to lead a team to a state championship game and amassed a record of 533 wins and 210 losses.
Well, in school, he played. He was the, I don't know whether he was the captain or what he was, but anyway, he was one of the lead players on the team. And he wanted to, his desire was to be a coach. He wanted to come back to his school and coached basketball. And that was one of his dreams. And it came a reality. Coaching meant quite a bit. He had the opportunity to become involved with many of the young men that I believe that he could touch their lives. There were a lot that they they were from struggling backgrounds. They didn't have money, and he could relate to them because he was in the same boat as they were. And so if he could help them, that was his goal, to try to help as many of them as he possibly could.
Okay.
Took them to camp, and a lot of them paid money because they were unable to do it for themselves.
It's just a passion of mine. My daughter played since 2007, and I started coaching her in travel ball. And I was asked to coach B team softball at Lawrence Manning, and in 2008, and just fell in love with it. I really never saw myself as coaching really much higher than at the B team level. Like I said, I've coached a lot of travel ball and everything, and coached the B team, but I guess I never really saw myself as far as being a varsity coach. Well, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. It takes a commitment. It takes girls that really want it, and these girls, they want it. A few of these girls was on the state championship team back in 2012, but really most of them had been moved up at the time. So this group of girls never actually got to be on the field to win it. And it's something that a lot of these girls wanted to experience, and they've been hungry for it for the last 3 years. And this year they made it count. Olivia's a sweetheart. Olivia means a lot to this team. Olivia means a lot to a lot of other schools and everything. She at the beginning of each game, a lot of really more at the higher level have ceremonial pitches and things like that, where a celebrity might throw out a ceremonial pitch. Olivia always did a ceremonial hit, and we would always put the ball in the T4 and let her hit and go around the bases. And even other coaches and their fans, they really supported her as well. And she was a spark on our team, and she was at most away games and all, and she's in the dugout, and she's the one that kind of tries to light fire under the girls most of the time. But she's an amazing person and truly an asset to our team. Even through the years, they've just kind of carried that saying, we believe. And when we got into the state championship game at Orangeburg Prep, we were in a tight situation, and we were tied up, and all the fans, even we had fans from home plate stretched all the way around out the right center field, and it was a great feeling because I was standing in the third base box, and you start hearing these chants, we believe, and all of our supporters, all of our fans out there were hollering, we believe. And so that would probably be the number one motto.
Olivia Brunson knows what it means to be a teammate. From the softball diamond to the basketball court, she's the Saints' #1 fan. No Clarendon Hall softball game can begin until she has led the team off with the first hit. Affectionately known by her teammates as Livy, she is always there to support her friends and encourage them to play their best. With her support, the Clarendon Hall Saints softball team won the 2015 1A state championship. To Livy, every sport is a chance to cheer on her schoolmates, but softball is her favorite. Livy is a central part of the Clarendon Hall family.
Livy has been on the softball team for 2 years. This is her second year on the softball team at Clarendon Hall, and we are very thankful for her team and her coaches, Coach Jeffrey, Coach Billy, Coach Richie, and all the girls on the team are so good to her. They really help take care of her and look out for her at the games, and everybody cheers her on when she hits her home run. So I'm very thankful for each one of them, for Emily and Jordan, and even the JV girls. Livy will sit with them in the dugout too, and they're all really just support Livy and take care of her, and we could not be any more blessed.
She's the bomb also.
Livy's the lead on home runs too.
Yeah, she hits for us every home game. She'll start off for us. And she'll pick who she wants to run around the bases with her. Usually it's Coach Jeff, and then sometimes it's the seniors.
And then she helps us cheer everybody on.
That's right.
And she keeps everybody straight.
Oh yeah, she makes sure everybody's in check.
And she makes sure we're winning.
She knows the lineup.
Yeah, she knows the lineup. Whenever somebody gets out, how many strikes that person has batting. It doesn't matter, she knows.
Scoreboard. If the scoreboard is wrong, Libby's right.
Yeah, she points it out.
Ain't that right, Libby? It means a lot.
Yeah, it
to
does.
have
Someone like to be there to always support us.
The fact that she can't really be out there makes us want to play even harder for her. Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
Libby, tell them how much you love them. You love all your girls.
We love you, Will.
What about a group hug? You think we get a group hug?
Oh, good
You
point.
can't really.
Of course. Oh, she's
Who first inspired you to play sports?
I would probably say my mother. She played a little bit of softball, and I really did not start playing sports until I was a little older, maybe 13 or 14 years old. So,
Describe your sports career.
I started at Lawrence Manning very young. I was maybe 3 years older than my senior group that I had. My very first year, I was coaching my sister-in-law and my sister, so it was a little different. A lot of the girls that I was coaching, I kind of grew up with, babysitting possibly, so it was a little different. But they still had that respect level for me. I still had that respect level for them. And, we were successful. So ultimately, it kind of comes down to that.
Can you imagine your life without sports? If so, what would it be like?
I really can't. You as you're coaching, you always have those moments in the middle of a season where it's long and hard work and you're steady going long hours. And you feel like, is this really where I need to be? I'm away from my family. And then you revamp and you say, wow, there's nothing else I'd rather do. I love sports. I love being around. And, the athletes that play for me, I call them my girls. I don't have girls of my own. I have 2 boys. And so these are my girls. This year I had 17 girls. I couldn't imagine them living with me every night, but these are my girls, and I feel like they're mine, and I would take up for them for anything. So,
do you have any advice for current or future athletes?
Yes. I feel like the biggest thing is you can never give up. Everything in today's life happens for a reason, and we have to pray about it. We have to believe that, it all has happened because of God's will, not because of our own will. And we have to stay positive. I feel like, they need to find the positive. We've lost some games, we've won some games, and out of the win, we have to understand and realize we've done a lot of positive things to get that win. But out of the loss, we have to learn what the mistake was that we made. We have to realize that there was something in that loss that we need to learn from and try not to ever let that happen again, So I'm a firm believer of the years that we've won, it's because of God's will, that whatever was going on, He allowed that to happen, and not all the time in the losses did He allow it to happen, but, we have to learn from our mistakes.
What are your best memories of sports?
Probably the good times for sure. Winning those games or winning those championships, and you watch the girls' excitement or the tears, the celebration of it all. The dog piles or just whatever. Those are the times when all the time and effort the hard work, the practice that you've put in, that it all has paid off, that they have now reaped the reward. And that's an exciting time, you know?
As a coach, how many state championships have you won?
Wow. I think that we have 6 here at Lawrence Manning, a couple of state runner-ups. So I'm very proud of what my teams have done, you know, and it's all the girls. They've done the work. They have committed the time and the effort to be the best that they can be. I've always been lucky to coach a group of athletes that would give me everything that they have. You know, they would come to practice and just dive or slide or just give me everything. And so I'm very fortunate as a coach to have always had a special group of girls that always had heart. And, you know, that's what it comes down to, is you have to have heart to be an athlete. And that is something that it's difficult to coach or teach. And I'm very fortunate to have coached.
From the age of 3, Keith Pugh knew he wanted to play football for his dad. When his dad began coaching at Scotts Branch under Leonard Johnson, Keith became an Eagle. Following a successful high school career in which he led the team in tackles 2 years in a row, Keith signed with Howard University Bisons. There, he had a record-breaking career, causing CBS Sports to say that he could go down as the best all-around linebacker in school history. He left Howard after recording 349 tackles, including 71 for a loss, an FCS career record. In 2013, he was signed by the Buffalo Bills of the NFL as an undrafted free agent.
Robbie Briggs is a Manning High School graduate who is a part of the only state championship football team in the school's history. He went on to play for the Citadel, where he was part of the winningest class in the school's history. After graduating, he returned to Manning High to coach. A few years later, he had amassed the winningest record in the school's football history. In 2013, Briggs switched to Lawrence Manning.
Well, I've always played football. We didn't have the rec leagues like we have today, but I played in middle school, played in high school, and then, of course, during Thanksgiving holidays and family reunions, we always played. And then Charlie Combs, Preston Threed, Andrew Hetty, we started a middle school program at Manning back in, I guess it was 1982, 83, and that's when I first started.
Okay.
Well, in 1987, we probably had a better team than we did in 88, and we lost in lower state finals, double overtime to Marion, still one of the toughest losses I've ever experienced, high school or college. But the next year, we rallied together and had a great season in 88, and were able to get it done. Well, originally out of high school, I was fortunate enough to have several offers and decided on going to Appalachian State. And then on a whim, a friend of mine, Shane Stevens, got injured and wanted me to go with him to the Citadel on his recruiting visit, which I was invited on. I said, there's no way in the world I'm going down there with you. But I went anyway, and we had a great visit, committed. And then our senior class was the winningest team in the history of that school. So we were very lucky and very fortunate that a lot of guys were on that recruiting visit and had a lot of great memories there. Well, I was very fortunate growing up. I had Kenny Wilson, who was an Olympic wrestler from Syracuse. I had Preston Threed, who was a multiple state championship winner. I had a lot of positive influences. Of course, Coach Taft at the Citadel. He's one of the most successful college and Canadian football coaches in the history of the game. And I was just very fortunate to be around a lot of great players and a lot of great coaches. And as a coach, I've been very fortunate to be around programs that cared about football. And then, of course, it all starts with players. You got to have players. We've had a lot of great players at Manning High School as well as Lawrence Manning. In the history of Manning, we were able to sign 103 players in the 20 years I was there. So we're real proud of that. Had no question I didn't want to coach. Didn't care about coaching. Preston Threed, when I would come home from spring break, he would always call me and say, I want you to come back to the high school and work with the kids during spring football and help me with drills and workouts and kind of give back to Manning High School, and I did. Then I met my wife, Amy Matthews, and I was given the opportunity to stay for 5th year as a graduate assistant, and I did. I lived with her dad at Isle of Palms, and then I came within a whisker a couple of times going into the college ranks. But Mike Shorter called me when I was in Charleston and said, "We have a position at Manning High School. Will you take it?" And I said, "Well, I guess I will." Very fortunate in my student teaching. I got to teach with John McKissick, the all-time winningest coach at Somerville High School. So he was my student teacher. I didn't really do a whole lot, but whatever he told me to do. But very fortunate to be around some of the great legends of the game as I was growing up.
In 2005, Scotts Branch football was at the 21-game mark of what would stretch into a 31-game losing streak. Unbeknownst to the Eagles, they were the dawning of a new era, one in which they would become a powerhouse of the Class A programs in South Carolina, play for 3 state championships in 3 years, take home 2 titles, and amass a 41-13 win-loss record from 2007 to 2010. The cause for such cataclysmic change? New head coach Leonard Johnson.
Well, I grew up in a little coastal town called Charleston. It's right down the coast there. Back many moons ago, I dropped into this world and grew up on the projects and went to high school, elementary school, and all that good stuff. And that's where it was. It taught us that number one, no matter what your situation is, you can make it. It doesn't matter. The situation is just a temporary thing. And number two, you have to work for what you want to do. And so all those things kind of fed into me going forward and I guess building my philosophy of how things go today. Now, a lot of guys want to come in and they want to win right away, and they do anything to win. You can't do that because you're dealing with, number one, you're dealing with the human being. What do you want this kid to be 20 years from now? And I always use this, and I always think about it like this. These kids may one day marry one of my granddaughters. And if my granddaughter Stephen fall in love with him, then I want him to be the best that he possibly can to my granddaughter. And that's how I coach. I tease all the time that after we won that first state championship game, and I know if you went down Somerton, the main street in Summer, the streets got narrow because what happened was that people walked around with their chest stuck up. Everybody, and everybody's so proud of what those kids did, because, for what those kids did during that period of time to bring that kind of notoriety to that city was just phenomenal from where we were, It's a passion for me. I love doing what I do.
We're here on the Lawrence Manning Academy baseball field with Brian Dietzen.
Now, my nickname got to be Beater from my last name, Beatson.
What did it mean to be a swamp cat?
I don't know what it is now, but back then, swamp cats, if you were a swamp cat, you were a swamp cat, and everybody knew it wherever you went.
Gigi Cutter is the face of Manning's American Legion baseball. As longtime head coach of the program, he enjoys the challenge of creating a winning team and building character in his athletes.
Well, I started playing Legion baseball when I was in high school in Manning years ago, and that's how I became involved. And then, of course, Bill was coaching it forever, it seemed like. And I had 2 boys that played Legion baseball, and I enjoyed coaching, so I decided to get more involved with it. But Bill is probably one of the reasons why I got involved in it, because he was always there involved in it prior to me coaching it. Well, I like to see kids that are committed to the program, kids who enjoy playing baseball, who enjoy coming out and practicing baseball, who are dedicated to playing baseball for the summer. We ask them to be out here in the field for
4, 5, 6 weeks of the summer, and they have to give up their summer. So, dedication and being able to get along with other players, because you meet different kids from different schools, and you get together with that camaraderie there, and you become friends as, after legion's over. But, I just like a kid who wants to play baseball, who wants to be out here in the summer. Well, when we won the state in 2002, there was just, Manny was really exploding, and people came out to our games during the year when we were winning, and they follow us all through our playoffs, our state championships, even with Tennessee for the regions. So, I can remember people sitting up in the stands in Rock Hill, and it was 95 degrees, and people that you thought, what in the world were they doing here? But it seemed like it brought Manning community together. And then when they presented us with the proclamation there in the state, it was just, a cherry on top of it.
My name is Bill Brewer, and I reside in Manning, South Carolina. I've been involved with American Legion Baseball since about 1980. And we've been very successful at putting a lot of people in college. This is that's my deal with American Legion Baseball, trying to make sure that we give everybody an equal chance of playing the game. Doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter what kind of financial condition they're in. Everybody, if you can play and you want to play, that's a good place for you. Well, in Manning, and I'm sure it's the same with every other place, wherever people may not be involved this year, they may not be involved next year, but at sometimes if you're in an area, you're going to have children, grandchildren, cousins, or people that's going to have kids that get involved in it. And if kids get involved in something, the parents, most of them are usually going to be right with them. And that's why we've always had support. Some people, if they don't have anybody in it at the time, doesn't mean that they're not going to be touched by it sooner or later. There's somebody in that family that's going to be involved in it. So it's good for them to realize you got to keep it going. You can't stop it and start it, stop it and start it. And that's most people's mindset is they got to understand that. And they do, and they've been very good here. There's no problem raising money for American Legion Baseball if you explain to everybody what you're doing and why you're doing it. There's no problem with raising money here. And Clarendon County is not a wealthy county, but they're very sports-minded people here, and they will continue to support it. Well, you don't have a good American Legion team if you do not have good high school participation, good high school coaches. It'll show up in American Legion Baseball. If you have a good little league program, a good pony league program, just the interest in baseball, the leagues down below, it's going to filter right into American Legion Baseball. I mean, it's have to, because everybody's on the same track. You got everybody on that same track trying to get to the end, and most guys in American Legion Baseball, they want to get better, and they like to play college baseball in some way, shape, or form, and they work at it. Those that work at it hard usually are successful. If you don't work at it hard, you won't be successful. I pitched, I remember I pitched 12 innings in Riley Park in Sumter against a team out of Columbia that was Olympia High School. And then we had we ended the game tied 1-1, and it stopped before darkness. The lights wasn't working or something, I don't know, but we had to finish the game next day, and we won that. And I threw some in that game too. So they won't do that now. They won't let you pitch a 12-inning game. We went 12 innings that game, and now the rule is you can't throw but 12 innings in 3 calendar days. So that would have knocked you out. You don't need to throw 12 innings in one day anyway. So that's a good rule. Well, that was good for me.
Grandma, as she's been affectionately dubbed by her students, goes to every sporting event in Clarendon County that she can in order to support the young athletes. She's a cafeteria worker at Manning High School who is dedicated to the success of the school's students. She enjoys supporting the county's student athletes and makes an effort to let them know that they always have a fan.
Well, I hope they gain, a lot. Take them on, through life, and whenever they go to college, they can play, sports if that's what they want. It just makes me feel good that they're going on through life doing real well. Well, it makes me feel real good, that they're playing sports, keep them out of trouble and whatever. And it's a real nice challenge to see all my kids play. Yep, I support them, win or lose. It doesn't matter, right? No, it just makes me feel good. I like volunteer with the kids. It makes me feel real good of, being around them and whatever. It just makes me feel good, gives me something to do. Yep. I go to East Clarendon games, support them. I've been with their softball game. I've been to the championship with them, rode their bus. The principal said he enjoyed having me to go with him. So I've been the year before last with them, and last year I've been with them. And I go to Scotch Branch game. I just support them because, all of them in the Clarendon district. So I just give them all a little, my time.
I'm Roseanne Jackson. My husband played football, defensive, offensive end for Clemson.
What was his favorite story to tell you about his glory days?
Well, we've heard this a lot of times, but I think it's my favorite one to tell. Clemson was playing Boston College at Boston one big football Saturday. Quarterback throws Scott a pass in the end zone. The sun got in his eyes and he missed the touchdown pass. The tough situation. Toward the end of the game, Boston College lined up to punt close to their end zone. Scott was playing defensive end position, broke through the line and blocked the punt, recovered the blocked punt in the end zone for a Clemson touchdown. The game ended in a tie. It sounded good on the radio. Because of his determination, he was put in a position where he could still make a difference in the game.
What was his athletic dream?
Well, to be the very best ball player he could be, and I think he was. He was always thankful for God's blessings and praised him for his success on and off the field. Scott's athletic choices prepared him to be the best father, husband, and provider he could be. He took a lot of pride in what he did. And we were on and off, going together a while, then we broke up. But I loved him in his uniform. I thought it was the best looking thing. And I always had a crush on him during baseball season. 2011, he was inducted into the first Clarendon County Hall of Fame. So, that was an honor.
Former Manning High standout Fred Bennett has played football at every level of the game. From high school to professional ball, his skills at defensive back are unparalleled. Bennett's story began when he was in the 8th grade, when he first played organized sports on then Manning Middle School's football team. That year, he was the MVP of his school's basketball and football teams. The natural-born athlete had found his niche. His freshman year at Manning High School, he was instrumental in helping the team play for a state championship. By his junior year, he was an all-region and all-state player for the Monarchs defense. Equally gifted in basketball, he earned all-state recognition on the court as well. He was once again MVP of the basketball team his senior year, after a 3-year career as a starter. However, Bennett's future lay in football. He had emerged as one of the dominant defensive players in the state by his junior year and had caught the attention of D1 scouts. By his senior year, he had scholarship offers pouring in from D1 schools across the country and was ranked as the 4th best player in South Carolina by Super Pro, a recruiting magazine. In the spring of 2003, Bennett began a college career that would place him under the tutelage of 2 of the best coaches to ever walk the University of South Carolina's sideline, Lou Holtz and Steve Spurrier. He was a 3-year starter for the Garnet and Black, recording 108 tackles and 2 All-American nods throughout his college career. The Houston Texans drafted Bennett in the 4th round of the 2007 draft. Following a successful first season, he was named Houston's Rookie of the Year. In 2012, he signed with the Calgary Stampeders of the Canadian Football League. The team just won its first Grey Cup, the Canadian Football League's version of the Super Bowl. Bennett said that the hard work that was instilled in him from an early age and his dedication to the sport he loves are how he has achieved such success. From his father coaching him as a child to playing for the biggest names in football, Bennett believes that the most important trait in a coach is caring about his players. Because of coaches like that, he was able to reach the highest levels of the sport he cares about. Because of his teammates and supporters, he is one of the best football players to come out of Clarendon County.
Bubba Davis is a very special member of the Lawrence Manning Academy family. He played basketball on the LMA JV team in the late 70s and has been cheering on the Swamp Cats ever since. In honor of his participation on the JV team, Bubba's number 33 jersey was retired. Lawrence Manning's gym was later dedicated to Bubba and renamed the Bubba Davis Gymnasium. Bubba regards everyone at LMA as part of his family. He attends almost all of the football and basketball games. Bubba's tradition before each game is to pray and give glory to God. Bubba Davis is Lawrence Manning Academy's #1 supporter and fan. What is the best thing about being an LMA Swamp Cat?
Team spirit, faculty, canteen, same way in my gym, canteen and my gym. And the gym, the name by me, and you name it Bubba Davis Gym, Gymnasium.
How did you feel when it was named after you?
I'm speechless.
Do you have a favorite sport, and if so, what is it and why?
All of them.
All of them?
All of them. One good coach right now. The man is Coach Robbie Briggs. He's the one who made our team. And Sean McCord, me, Ben Harrod, and Al Nelson. And the little boy, his son. And one man in my heart says, in my brain, is Mr. Ken Beatzer, because he's the one, our coach. He's the coach. He's a good man.
Do you see Lawrence Manning, the people at Lawrence Manning, as part of your family?
Yes, ma'am.
You do?
Lawrence Manning is always my family. Okay, I played this basketball, and my gym, the winner score. The went back about 3.5. Me and my roofers together with friends. We passed it, but I throw it quick. And I did. By half court. By half court. I hit it by 1 second, and a zero comes. The tip and ran, and the horn went bomb, swish.
Wow!
Yeah.
John Franklin Timms was a 1955 graduate at Manning High School. After a three-sport high school career in football, basketball, and baseball, he attended Presbyterian College, where he played 1 year of football. After graduating from Presbyterian College in 1958, he joined the Army and served as a tank platoon commander in Korea. After his 13-month tour there, he returned to Manning High School to begin a 55-year-long coaching career. Over his 47 years at the helm of the Lady Monarchs, he led the team to 2 state championships, 3 runner-up finishes, and is the winningest girls basketball coach in South Carolina with 857 wins over his career.
I came back from the Army. I served in Korea for 13 months and came back to Fort Jackson since I was getting out. And this was in 1959-60. And my high school coach and W.P. Mabry and Superintendent W.H. Weldon hired me straight out of the military. And I have been at Manning High ever since. I went to Manning High. So it was my dream in the 10th grade to one day come back and coach and teach at Manning High. I inherited a good team from Miss Harriet McCord, and what happened there was that after football was over, I got bored, and so I would go in the gym, and eventually she'd say, "Oh, how about you take the defense and do this, that, and the other?" And so I became involved in it that way. And when she retired, I was given a job. So it's not many men that can say that a woman taught them a sport like basketball. And she's excellent. She was the first coach in Manning of any sport that won 100 games. So, and then I got in it like that, and we had some, I would say good athletes was the key to everything I ever had. I'm very proud of the fact that 27 of my girls went on to college with and got their education through basketball. And that made me happy. All these plaques you see on this wall right here are the work of other people, and I just happen to be in the crowd. That's all. And I do appreciate all these honors, and it's wonderful, and each of them has a story. But being singled out for doing something that everybody helped do.
These individuals are some of Clarendon County's finest. Some have gone on to earn national and international recognition. Others have touched hundreds of lives over long, successful coaching careers.
From all backgrounds and walks of life, these individuals are united by a common tie: Clarendon County sports. The true impact lies not only in the effect that Clarendon County athletics has had on these individuals, but also in the lasting impression they have made on this county.
Each narrative is a part of the greater picture that is Clarendon County athletics.
These are their stories.
These are our stories.
And these are the stories of future generations who will grow up in the jerseys and on the fields we have left behind.